The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Alright, hello everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how to make killer 1-minute videos. Before we get started, I wanted to begin by telling you guys a story. So like any great story, we need a protagonist. And I'd like to introduce you to Sydney. She's our protagonist, the hero of the story. So Sydney is my dog. She's a lab mix. And any of you guys who have dogs, or especially who have labs, know that they like to chew, right? So this is what happens when you leave Sydney alone for more than 10 minutes. You come home, she's chewed through the peanut butter, chewed through the cap, pretty much destroyed everything. And when I first got Sydney, she ate just about everything. She ate over $1,000 worth of my possessions, right? She ate my laptop charger, phone charger, she ate the sole out of my shoe, she chewed up on the couch, the TV remote, DVD cases. She even chewed up my Pride and Prejudice book, so the dog was a menace, and she'd eat anything. Then one day I was on a client call, and Sydney started to, cough. It sounded like she was kind of wheezing. So I said, you know what, I have to call you back. Something's wrong with my dog. I ended up taking her into the vet, and they said, yep, she's got kennel cough. They said, gave me some prescriptions. I gave her some of these pills for a few days, and she should be fine. I said, okay, great. She eats anything. It shouldn't be a problem. So I go home, and I give Sydney the pill, and she puts it in her mouth, kind of, mulls it over, and then spits it out, rejects it, right? So I try the second time, and this time she won't even put it in her mouth. So the only way to get Sydney to eat the pill was to wrap it up in some other food, like some cheese or bologna or whatever it is. And then finally she would eat it, right? So think of advertising in this way. Advertisers call this the bologna principle. And the idea is that people don't like ads. The average person is served over 2,000 ads per day. These could be from social media, billboard, radio, TV. You as a person, your avatar, your target, your combination of demographics, psychographics, all these different things is being targeted over 2,000 times per day. And for the most part, we just ignore these, right? We don't pay attention to them. People don't like ads. So the best way to get someone to buy something is, again, this bologna principle. So the idea is, the dog doesn't like the pill, so you wrap it up in something the dog does like. So people don't like ads. They don't like being sold to. It makes them feel like they're being taken advantage of. But people do like stories, right? We all love stories. We all love being entertained. And video is the most optimal way to tell a story. So we're going to talk today about how you can craft your videos on Facebook so that you can still sell a product, but while telling a story. And I'm going to show you guys some examples of other people that have done this. I'm going to give some live examples here on the webinar. And hopefully this will be a great benefit to you guys. Facebook recognizes, just like we do, that people don't like ads. That's why they favor video so heavily. You guys probably hear a lot of people saying, Facebook Live performs really well. In general, when you run videos as opposed to static images, you're going to get lower CPMs, and you can also retarget directly off video. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, so for example, let's say, I have a handful of videos. I can say, person that watched video A, show them video B, and show that person video C. I can't do that with a normal post. If I just have some image, like for example, this image of Sydney, if I were to take this and run it as an ad and say, hey, whatever, something about peanut butter, I couldn't take the people that clicked like and then show them something else. But with a video, I can take the people that watched the video and show them a direct other piece of content. Facebook is trying to condition us as advertisers to not be spammy, to not just push our product. Because everyone, we all have to sell a product. But that's why we get more reach for videos, because Facebook's trying to encourage people to use video because they know that video encourages people to tell stories, which is what the users want. So let's go through the 4 components of the 1-minute video. And in general, shorter videos are better. Let's talk about the length first, introduce why we talk about 1-minute videos. You guys, if you've been hanging around Blitz Metrics, folks, you probably heard us use the expression 1-minute videos a number of times. So the reason is you have to recognize that nowadays 80% of the traffic is on mobile, which means they're on the go. They're in the back of an Uber, they're at a restaurant, they're hanging out with their friends, they're in a classroom. for the most part, they're not just sitting down, right? So if your video is really long, you're just asking too much of them because they just don't have the time to commit to that, you know? If I'm at a restaurant with friends, I can watch something that's 30 seconds on my phone if I get bored, you know, the conversation's not going anywhere, but I'm not about to pull out my phone and just sit down and watch something that's 10 minutes. So that's one of the number one mistakes is people make their videos too long because they try and say too much. They go on and on and on. And long-form content definitely has a place in marketing, but on Facebook, on social, again, recognize that most of the traffic is watching your video through this little 2x2 screen. So you can't ask too much of them, right? So short videos. Facebook recommends even shorter videos. They say their number one tier for video length is 15 seconds, which is like really micro. And that makes it really difficult. If you do that, you really have to let the images tell the story and get right to the point, you know. So we like to talk about 1-minute videos because it gives us a chance to still tell a story. Facebook for a long time has recommended videos in length of 15 to 90 seconds. And again, we talked about how Facebook tries to kind of, you know, encourage advertisers to behave a certain way. Why do you think when they opened up Instagram, they said you cannot run video ads that are longer than a minute on Instagram? It's because, again, they're trying to encourage people to do shorter videos because they know these long-form videos just don't make too much sense for these platforms. So that's why we talk about the 1-minute video. Let's hop over. Let's see here. And we have our 4 components of the 1-minute video to break it down for you guys. So this is the template you guys can use. You want to have a hook within the first 0 to 3 seconds. And that's probably the most important part because that's where the majority of the traffic leaves. So for an average video, 70% of the traffic will not even watch for at least 3 seconds. So Facebook counts a view as 3 seconds, and on average, the average video out there only gets 30% of the reach turning into views, which means 70% of your people, 7 out of every 10, when your video pops up in their feed as an ad, they're just scrolling right past it, right? So the hook is the most important part because that's where the majority of the audience is getting lost. So a few cardinal sins to avoid: don't use a bumper. A bumper is where you have your brand or your logo with music playing. You want to get right to the point. It's best to start with maybe some movement, or you could use a prop, but do something, right? So I'll give you an example. Most people, when they're making videos, they don't really know what to say. You know, most of us, we weren't studying acting or drama in school, so that's totally fine. So when people don't know what to say, they kind of go to a default mode, right? They go on autoplay. And it goes back, since they don't know what to say, they just start introducing themselves and giving a biography. They'll say, hey, I'm Logan, I'm 27, I went to school at BYU, I studied advertising, and I do Facebook ads. And by that point, you've lost everyone, right? Because people don't care about your bio unless you're like famous. If you're Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or, you know, Tony Robbins, then sure, people might be interested in your bio, but people really don't know who you are enough to care that, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm Bob, I'm Frank, I'm Mary, these different things, right? But again, people do care about stories. Remember the bologna principle we talked about earlier, you know, wrapping the pill inside something else good, some cheese or bologna. So for an example, rather than me saying, hey, I'm Logan, I'm 27, I went to school at BYU, and I do Facebook ads, I could say, when I was 16, I got held up at gunpoint. Or when I was 3 years old, I went to SeaWorld and got attacked by a seagull. Those are a lot more interesting hooks, right? Now, the viewers, my audience, has some kind of incentive. You know, they're probably a little more interested to hear the rest of what I'm going to say rather than just saying, hey, this guy's name is Logan. So don't start with a bumper. Don't start by introducing yourself. Start with a story. We like to use the phrase, when I was. When I was 16, this happened. You know, when I was 3, this happened. And then from there, you want to ignite some pain or pleasure. So why should they be watching? You know, we have the hook to give them initially, but what's kind of the problem they have that we're going to hopefully solve for them? Then you describe the solution, and then at the end, you have a call to action. And the call to action doesn't always have to be selling. You know, some people get hung up on this. You can have a hard call to action or a soft call to action. It doesn't always have to be, you know, click below, enter below. It could just be, you know, I'm looking forward to connecting, or I'll send you more content or something like that. So let me give you guys kind of an example of how this might look, going back to some of the earlier hooks I talked about. So here's my 1-minute video. I could say, when I was 3 years old, I went to SeaWorld for the first time. I had a churro, and then as I was eating it, this seagull flew down out of the sky, grabbed onto my churro. We started, doing this tug of war until the seagull finally let go and pecked me in the forehead. So I lost my churro, and I realized very early on in life from this experience that sometimes things just don't go the way that you plan them to. And a lot of you guys may feel that way when it comes to marketing. You may be running advertising campaigns on Facebook, on Google, these different channels, and you probably heard a lot of success stories, but you might feel like your ads aren't working very well. Well, there's a lot of competition on these platforms, and it can be hard to do things the right way. I've spent over $1 million on Facebook, and I'm very familiar with the platform. My name's Logan. I do Facebook ads. I'd be happy to work on your accounts with you. Okay, so you guys see how I was able to fit all 4 of those components in there? I mean, that wasn't scripted, right? I just kind of did that on the fly, but I started with the hook. So the story about getting attacked at SeaWorld, and then I transitioned it. So night painter pleasure, sometimes, everything's fine, then, things just don't go your way. You guys might feel this way about your campaigns. Describe the solution. I spent over $1 million. I know Facebook pretty well. Call to action. I can help you out with your campaigns, right? So those are the 4 components, the 1 minute video. So let's go back and show you guys some other examples of maybe how this looks. This is one of my favorite examples. This is Dr. Mark Page. I believe he's part of the nation too. And Dr. Page came to our workshop this last summer, and we talked about the 4 components of a 1 minute video. And he runs, a facility for people who need help with their eyes, right? He's an eye doctor. So most people would, again, talk about the what. I think of the why, how, and the what, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the what's the product. So they would say, yeah, I'm Dr. Page. I was in school for 8 years, and I can help you with your eyes, and here's what I do, here's how much it costs. But so much more powerful is the story. So instead, he starts with his why, with the story, talking about how when he was a kid, his dad went blind, and that's what inspired him to become a doctor. So let's go ahead and watch this video. Go ahead and give it to
When I first became an eye doctor, my dad had gone blind. And it really helped me realize how precious our eyesight is. And as a doctor, I was realizing I was helping people see better, but I'm seeing that their vision keeps getting worse and worse. So I tried to figure out, is there some way we can kind of stop that from changing or stop it from getting worse? So I really believe that our life revolves around our eyesight. So we created what's called the Invisalens. And that does kind of help stabilize the eyes, kind of like braces for the eyes. So I'm Dr. Mark Page. I'm the founder of Invisalens, who would like to help you and your children see a better life. Okay, so Vanna's going to take...
All right, so you guys see that? So that was perfect, right? I mean, Dr. Page is a great guy. He's obviously not, some Mark Wahlberg or whatever. But he starts off with a story, when I first became an eye doctor, it happened because of this. And then he talks about the pain or solution, or the problem people are having. And then he ends with the solution. That's why I created Invisalens and the call to action. I'm Dr. Page. I can help you with your eyes if you're having problems. And Dr. Page said that starting with this why video has helped him get more leads and more clients to his business. So let me show you guys another example. This one comes from our friend Isaac Irvine. He works at GoDaddy. And he wanted to work on building out his own personal brand because part of his roles at GoDaddy is he's responsible for the personal branding of some of their execs and different people. So he was working on his own, and this is a video, some of you guys may have seen it, where he's interviewing his son Bodhi, who got bullied at school because he had long hair.
Say hi, man.
Hi.
Want to say hi to my friends?
Hi.
All right, so you got bullied today, huh?
Yeah.
What happened? You want to talk about it?
So
Can you tell me what happened?
I was going down my line, and then 2 boys passed me, and then they made fun of me.
What did they make fun of you about?
My hair.
Because you have long hair?
Yeah.
It's pretty long, dude. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have long hair? Is there a reason why you have long hair?
I want to donate it.
So you're growing your hair out so you can donate it. And
Yeah.
some kids came by and said you look like a girl.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel, man?
It made me feel sad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of kids at your age, like boys, huh, with long hair.
Yeah.
Pretty unique.
Yeah.
You want to know something secret?
What?
Daddy gets made fun of sometimes too.
Yeah, I know, because you tattoos.
Yeah. People look at me and they're like, look at that guy with all the tattoos on his neck and on his hands and stuff.
Well, I think it's cool.
You think it's cool I have tattoos?
Yeah, and I think that, and I still remember the day that all your friends came over.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll watch the whole thing, and this one's more just really focusing on the story and on Bodhi's story. Bodhi's his son. So he doesn't really have the call to action because he's not trying to push any product, he's just really trying to build his own brand. And as building your own brand, you know, people connect with your job, what you do, but we're more than just what we do. You know, Isaac's more than just someone that works at GoDaddy. He's also, you know, a dad and a role model for his son, so that's part of his brand, right? But the point is that this video performed really well, and it's gotten over 80 million views. It's been picked up by a ton of news media like Ellen DeGeneres, George Takei, Lad Bible, Mike, BuzzFeed. You know, I think Isaac and his son has been on the news multiple times for this. And the amazing thing is, again, if you look at it, you know, we'll just resume for a second, you can see that it's filmed in the bathroom, right? There's the shower head. There's no mics. They're not wearing lapels. There's no professional lighting. It's just the natural, you know, the light from the bathroom. And it's filmed on a smartphone, you know, iPhone or whatever it is. So you don't need all these fancy things. A lot of people like to make excuses or think they can't get started with making videos. Literally, all you need is your smartphone, and that's about it. You know, Isaac's wearing a tank top, right? You can see all his tattoos and all that stuff. So I did some analysis on this video comparing the metrics to some video ads I'd seen in my feed from Hollywood for the movie Wonder Woman. Before Wonder Woman came out, you know, they were advertising it on Facebook, and I was looking at the engagement rate and these different things, and this video outperformed Wonder Woman, right? So that's a video with a professional writer behind it, you know, professional lighting, sound, all these things, like tightly scripted. But this one did better because, again, it goes back to the baloney principle because this one's genuine, right? The Wonder Woman, everyone kind of knows it's an ad that is trying to sell Wonder Woman, you know, it's trying to sell a product. This one, it's just really genuine. It's just literally him telling his story, talking with Bodhi about Bodhi's story, and because of that, it resonated with people. So this is a great example of a why video, right? So now that we've kind of shown you some examples, I've given some examples of how to make 1 minute videos, you want to start orchestrating these videos into a greater template that we believe, or we call the 3x3, which is made up of your why, how, and what videos. Should have it on here. Here you go. So these are the 3 different buckets that your videos should fit into. 3 different categories of videos. So the what is your product or service you're trying to push. But the why is the first touch. So this is, you know, you introducing yourself. So think of the why as equating to storytelling. Again, you introducing yourself through a story as opposed to through a bio. Because at this point, people haven't had any previous interaction with your brand, so they don't know who you are. So you're introducing yourself, but it goes back to what we were talking about. You know, there's 2 ways to introduce myself. One is, hey, I'm Logan, I'm 27, I go to school at DYU. The better way, I believe, that we talked about and that I gave you guys a demo of is through the story. When I was 3, I went to SeaWorld. I got attacked by the seagull. It was a really traumatic experience, and I learned on early in life that things don't always go your way. And, you know, it's the same for Facebook ads. I'm Logan. I do Facebook ads. I'm happy to work on your accounts with you. So I'm introducing myself, but I'm doing it using the baloney principle, right? I'm wrapping it up in this story. So think about the different stories that have been impactful for you in your life. Think about the defining moments. So for me, some of mine were, you know, getting the SeaWorld thing, the seagull. Again, when I was 16, I got held up at gunpoint. But they don't always have to be traumatic experiences, right? You don't have to have gotten some disease or been in some life-threatening situation. You know, some of the other ones I've talked about a lot are, you know, from 2010 to 2012, I served a 2-year mission for my church, where for 2 years, you know, I kind of left everything, work, school behind, and went and just served a mission for 2 years. That was a defining moment that I like to talk about a lot. For me, you know, I have different topics where I like to talk about school. I'm a big advocate of college, you know, dogs, right? So that goes back to your topic wheel, but think about the different stories and things you're passionate about that you could tell stories about to introduce yourself that people might resonate with. And then the bridge is you have to, somehow connect those, because on one hand we want to tell stories, but on the other hand we still have to sell the product. So the power is being able to transition the stories, which you saw me do earlier with the Siegel example. So on one hand, that's a good story, and I could just tell it in and of itself, but the power is when I can transition it to what I do, to Facebook ads or marketing campaigns. So your why is introducing yourself through telling stories. The middle layer is how, and this equates to educating. So think of this as showcasing your expertise. So in this one, people kind of figure out who you are. They're a little bit interested. At the end of it, you might tell them what you do a little bit. The how, they want to know if you're legit, right? I do Facebook ads, so what? A lot of people do Facebook ads. There's always Facebook experts. And people will always respect a show me, don't tell me approach more. So rather than me saying, yeah, I'm really good at Facebook ads, if I can show them, that's a lot more powerful. So for me, my how is like showing screen shares. Here's how you assemble why, how, and what videos. Here's how you create a lookalike audience. So if we hop over to my page, for example, and let's just go to my video tab, and we'll show you guys how some of these look from my own page. I'll just give the Wi-Fi 1 second here. Okay, so you can see I have a number of these videos where I'm talking about things on a whiteboard, or these ones are screen shares where I'm doing something on my laptop, and then I'm taking a video showing you guys how to do it, and I might be interviewing other people. So these ones where I'm like here on the beach in Sydney, these are kind of like my why videos where I'm just talking about stories. And this is one way we talked about, the hook as one of the 4 components of 1 minute video. So this is a hook that you might use, is doing something out in nature. Like here, I've got, I think, one in New Zealand. Again, it's just a little bit more kind of exciting for people to watch. You can do ones where you move around too. I've got some like this one where I'm walking the whole time. So you just have some kind of constant movement.
What's up, guys? So today I want to go over 3 non-negotiable rules we have when it comes to client-agency relationships. The first is the client must...
So just kind of something going on to keep people's attention. But again, yeah, so you can see ones like those where I'm on the beach or these different things. Those are more my why videos. And then I have these ones where, again, I'm drawing on a whiteboard, teaching principles. Those are the how videos, so that's educating, and it's a show me versus it's a show me, don't tell me approach. So I'm literally teaching the principles, showcasing my expertise. And then the bottom ones are the what videos. So here I'm trying to help sell a power hour, consulting. That's one of the products I offer, Facebook ad packages. I think I have one in here talking about Snapchat courses. We sell courses, right? So then you take people that have had a few previous touches, and those are the people you show your what videos to. Because the average consumer needs 7 touches with a brand before they're going to convert. Sometimes more, sometimes less. And you don't just want to one-off everyone. So some time ago, Procter & Gamble came out and said, you know what, we've tried this whole digital thing, and we've just found that traditional works better, and that's what we're going to stick to. And that's true. If you approach digital with a traditional mindset, then it's not going to be very successful for you. So the traditional mindset is just kind of like blast the creatives out there, right? But on Facebook, it's so, fantastic that you can sequence content directly together. I can take anyone that watched any of these videos and show them my how videos. And I can take anyone that watched my how videos and show them my what videos. Because by that point, if they've sat through and watched, video 1 and sat through and watched video 5, they're probably, at this point, that's a good proxy that they're probably interested in what I do. And they might be someone who'd be interested in purchasing, some of my services. So that's how you want to assemble your 1 minute videos, is in these 3 buckets of why, how, and what. And they align with the stages of the funnel where you go from awareness to engagement to conversion. Most people are pretty good about talking about what, and people are pretty decent about how, showcasing their expertise. A lot of people struggle with the why. So I want to go over another template we have for you guys about how to make a why video. If you guys are interested, you can come over to blitzmetrics.com/why. There's 3 components of the why video. We believe the why video is so important that we made, an additional template just for this. Because again, this is the first touch. So if this doesn't work, it's going to mess up everything else. If I'm dropping a ton of traffic here, then right away, the funnel is kind of broken. Because when I think of a first touch, I need to cast a really wide net. And from there, the audience will kind of drop off as it goes down, and that's fine. But I really need to kind of lead with a strong foot here. So here's the 3 parts of a why video. 1 is opening up with a story. Again, when I was 16, I got held up at gunpoint. It was this crazy, surreal experience, but it gave me perspective. And then that leads to 2. I believe that. So the 1, you're telling the story, the hook. Bring in the viewers, right? 2 is I believe that. So it leads to some belief, something people will resonate with. So you probably heard the expression that people buy from people, right? People don't buy, there's so many different products. Think about whatever your product is. There's so many other people doing the same thing. And people buy based off trust. It's the same thing with brands. So back in the 60s, Leo Burnett, he's one of the advertising godfathers, kind of. And he was the guy that first started associating fictional characters with brands. So when you think of like Tony the Tiger, or the guy in the Quaker Oats box, the old Colonel guy, like the George Washington figure, Toucan Sam, the little Lucky Charm guy. Leo didn't create all those. He did create like Tony the Tiger and some of these others, but he was the first one that had that idea of kind of personifying the brand, because the brand's this made-up thing, mini wheats, Frosted Flakes, whatever. It's a cereal. There's so many different cereals out there, and a lot of them taste the same. There's so many off-brands of Lucky Charms, but again, people buy from people. They buy based off trust. So he found that from giving the brand personification, some kind of character, some kind of identity, it led to increased sales. So we don't have to do that, right? Maybe if you're working on a big brand, but if you are the brand or you're the figurehead, you still want people to identify with you. So that's why you start with the story, then leads to some core belief that you have, that hopefully they can resonate with. And in the end, you introduce yourself, right? So I'll give you guys another example of this one from the held up story. And see how I use these 3 components and how it allows that trust to be built. So I could say, when I was 16, I was working at Subway, and one night this crazy thing happened. I saw this guy walking by outside. He had a bandana covering his face, and he walked into the store and walks right up to me and pulls the gun out, puts the gun right on my neck. It wasn't the scariest moment of my life, but it was a very surreal experience. Something you never expect to happen to you. I ended up going back. He asked me for all the money out of the safe. I told him I did not know the combination. Things got kind of heated. He ended up throwing some punches. Eventually he said, okay, just give me all the money out of the drawer. I gave him all the money out of the cash drawer. He left, and the experience was over. So an experience like that teaches you a lot. For me, I realized that you never know when your life's going to end, and I don't want to let moments pass me by. I believe that all of us have great opportunities around us. Opportunities to connect deeper with our family and friends. Opportunities to excel at work. Opportunities to further our education. Opportunities to experience the world. And if we're not careful, I believe these opportunities will pass us by, because it's easy to make excuses. But the danger in saying someday is that it implies not today. So I want to make sure that I make the most of my opportunities today. I'm Logan. I run Facebook ads for Blitz Metrics. I've spent over $1 million on Facebook. I enjoy what I do for work, and I know that's important. I'd love to work with you on your Facebook campaigns. So again, I just kind of did that one on the spot, but you see I have those 3 components, right? Where I start with the story, when I was 16, I got held up at gunpoint, brings people in, leads to this belief about opportunities and opportunity waste and opportunity costs and all these different things. And then at the very end, that's when I talk about, I'm Logan. That's when I mention Blitz Metrics, mention Facebook ads, the baloney principle, right? So hopefully if I made a video about that and put it out there, it kind of perform well, and it's a good first touch. People kind of know a little bit more about who I am, about some of my beliefs. They can resonate with me, and now I can start leading them down my funnel. Right now I can start saying, yeah, by the way, educating, right? Did you know that Facebook and Google own an 80% duopoly over the online market, and it's important to advertise online? Here's how you do it. By the way, if you want someone to do it for you, or if you're interested in a course or consulting, I can help you out with that. All right, so that's how you guys should structure your videos. I want to give you guys a few other tips and tricks. when we were at Facebook last June, we had a private meeting with them, some of their engineers and product team. We asked them the #1 tip for creatives. And they said their #1 tip is to use captions just on videos. Because again, they want people to use videos, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that the majority of the audience is watching on their mobile device, which by default is going to play on mute. And beyond that, they're just not in a situation where they're going to put the sound on. If I'm on the go, if I'm at a restaurant, if I'm with my friends, it's kind of rude to just turn on the sound. Plus, it might be noisy. So a lot of people will just watch on mute. And if your video doesn't have captions, I could have told that, great story about getting held up. But if there's no captions, people, all they see is a floating head. They see there's this guy talking, who knows what he's saying, and they move on, right? 70% of the traffic does not even watch for 3 seconds. So make sure you use captions. Facebook makes it super easy. For any of your videos, when you upload them, you can just turn on captions by default. I don't know if it'll show me. It won't show me from this view. But when you guys go to upload a new video, that's one of the features is, well, here, let me just, Wi-Fi is a little slow, so let's see if I can just show you guys really quick. All right, so I'm just here doing a new post, add photos or videos. Sure. Oh, let's do downloads. Okay, so I've got this video. And just right here on the right, subtitles and captions. You'll just go here, you'll click auto-generate. Just make sure you go through them, because unless you speak really succinctly, they're just going to get a few words wrong, if you mumble at all. So, but you auto-generate, it loads everything, and then if you need to edit anything, it's literally just click in and you can edit. So adding captions should not be a problem. Make sure all your videos you have captions. That'll increase your view-through rate. How much your reach turns into views. It'll increase your average watch time. And all these metrics are really important because that's what Facebook looks for, right? To see if a video is performing well. So if your video is doing well, it'll have a higher relevancy score. You'll get charged a lower CPM. Facebook will always put the best content out there for less, right? If your content's really bad, if you're wondering why your CPMs are so high, you probably have a low relevancy score, right? So things like this will help you be able to get more bang for your buck, right? More reach. All right. They have all these other cool things too. Facebook's always changing. One thing too is think about the thumbnail, right? Remember the 20% text rule. So that's based off your thumbnail. These ones don't have any text, but again, they'll pick a thumbnail by default. So just make sure you check it. Like I wouldn't obviously want something like this because again, I know that 70% of the traffic doesn't even watch for the first 3 seconds. So the 3 things that affect that are the thumbnail, the hook I use, and the copy. So if you're looking over your data for your videos and you notice that most of your reach is not turning into video views, you need to change one or 2 or 3 of those things, either the thumbnail, the copy, or the hook, right? Those are the things that decide, I guess the target audience too, who you're sending it to. Those are the 4 things in combination that decide your view-through rate. Let's save. Again, Facebook recommends shorter videos. Certain placements will only let you run if you have these short videos. And even if you do long-form content, for example, this is an interview I did with Heather Dobson on the GoDaddy show. They do once a week. So that's an hour-long show. It's a Facebook Live they do every week. So that's too long for me to post, but you can have VAs or services like Fancy Hands or Fiverr go through and pull out the most interesting parts. So if you don't have 1-minute videos, the next steps is you should start creating some 1-minute videos and put them in these 3 buckets, why, how, and what. But also go back through some of your long-form content and pull out the most exciting parts, right? If there's some really cool story in here, or there's this part where Heather's talking about how great we are, that's kind of got some authority behind it. So I might want to say, hey, from like 31 minutes to 32 minutes or whatever, pull out that little clip. And you can curate from a lot of your existing content to some of these others. So that's how you guys can make some killer 1-minute videos. If you guys have any questions, please respond to this. Email me directly. We had some problems with GoToWebinar that prevented us from doing this live. So there's no live viewers on this. There was just a bug in their system that just happened to pop up when we were going to go live. So we did want to record this for you guys and make this available to you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to see your guys 1-minute videos. You can post them here in the group. and we should be having our webinars every Thursday, so make sure you guys come on live so that you can ask questions, and we'll have Q&A time for all of those. We'll go over some live examples. Love to hear you guys' feedback. Thank you so much.